Hi everyone, this video is for the Ethereum package owners, but I'm publishing it publicly because several of you asked me for part 2 of the Ethereum package. So first of all, I'm gonna do the boring bit because I want you to watch the video until the end, and then I'll make the forecast right at the end. But it is essential, whoever has the Ethereum package, it's essential for you to know how far we have progressed with this package. So this is the first page here where I'm showing the back testing of the monthly time frames, and on the basis of those time frames I make the forecast. You don't need to understand this. I do not teach my system to anyone, so these are just my calculations, and I've given you the page just in case if you want to get into those things and if you want to have a go at understanding them. I'm perfectly fine for you to have a go, but I'm not actually teaching my system to anyone. This is the forecast for 2025 for the monthly time frames. So I got the January correct, that January was expected to close on a red, February was expected to close on a red, I got that correct as well. And then March and April I got them wrong because I had forecasted that they will close on a green, and unfortunately they closed on a red. And the reason why I had them forecasted as closing on green is because my official fractal, and I ran several fractals in parallel. They look the same, but actually these are separate fractals because they belong to independent cycles that are currently present on the Ethereum market. So what happened, what went wrong is that you can see when people got the package sometime in November, December, things were going really well. Right, these are the fractals, and the Ethereum candles were printing exactly in the same direction as the fractal. And then it was 9th of March when the fractal separated from the candles. The candles headed further down and the fractal from 9th of March continued up, and that's what screwed my forecast for March. For March I was bullish because if you check here, where is 31st of March? So this is 31st of March. The closing on 31st of March was higher than on 28th of February. Look at this. This is 28th of February here, right? And this is 31st of March here. So it was closing higher, and for that reason, not just that reason, but here you can see that I have two fractals running at the same time, and also I have checked tons of other confluences, and that is why I forecasted that March would be closing on a green. So I'm not here to bullshit anyone. I do make mistakes and I'm very frank about my mistakes. I really hate people who, when they make a mistake, they keep quiet and they're hoping that people will not notice or that people will forget. We are gathered here to be honest with each other and to try to crack the code to these cryptos so we can get our money out and hopefully make a profit as well. We're not here to bullshit each other and deluding each other. My accuracy is above 60%, and at the end of the day, I'm not even a bot. I calculate everything manually, so I'm aiming for an accuracy of 80%. If I close the year with 80% accuracy, that is a good accuracy. If somebody wants a 100% accuracy, good luck finding that. I know where you're gonna find the 100% accuracy. You're gonna find the 100% accuracy with accounts that never state anything clearly, accounts that never make any precise statements about closing candles on any time frames, and they just use general language like a positive momentum is building up, And when I hate when they say bullish or bearish. On what? Bullish or bearish on what time frame? On daily time frame, weekly time frame, or monthly time frame? And what exactly they mean by bullish or bearish? Is that how it feels, how the day feels, or is it how it will close? They're totally different things. A day can feel very bullish and end up closing on a red, and vice versa. There are days that feel very bearish and then they close on a green. So all of that general language I do not use. I have minimalized the language that I use. The fractals are speaking for themselves. Just in this video, I have to update you on what improvements I have done on the package so that everybody knows what you're holding in your hands, and I will send you the new version after I record this video. So I have updated here the accuracy of these months, that March and April were not accurate for me, for my forecast, unlike my Bitcoin timeframes forecast. At the moment is running with a 100% accuracy. My Ethereum forecast is a little bit suffering. So 3 out of 5 are correct, 2 out of 5 wrong so far. Okay, May I had forecasted as green month, and it's closing on a green very clearly. So I've given a tick for that. And my next forecast is that June will be closing on a green. And the next one is that July will be closing on a red. So these are my most immediate forecasts, and now I will take you through why I think so. Just one more thing I need to cover with you guys and ladies, because I'm not getting from your communication that you actually are using the package that I have given you. I have worked very hard on this package, and it's very important for you to use it. So the most easy thing to use in the package is the daily time frames. Look at that, they're all here. All the daily time frames in Ethereum's life are here. And this is what you get here. So first of all, you see the year under which these time frames are. Just in case, if you want to do your own independent research and want to figure out in a particular year what time frames tend to be bullish. That is on my list of things to do, but I haven't got around to doing that yet. So I have given here the years from 2015, when Ethereum was born, all the way until 2032. And then after that, if I'm still alive on this planet, I will continue that. And you will get the knack of it. I'm sure that you will be able to continue that by yourselves. So the first thing here that you see is the element of the year. Then it's the earthly branch of the year, the animal, the zodiac animal. As you know, I practice Chinese astrology, and most of my forecasts are based on Chinese astrology, although I use Western astrology as an additional confluence. Okay, and then I'm making a note here. I'm saying that this begins the Jupiter cycle, which culminates after 12 years. So the Jupiter cycle runs at 12 years. In Chinese astrology, what we call the Grand Duke. And then I'm explaining a little bit here about the year, how the year relates to the entity called Ethereum. What I'm saying here is that the wood supports the fire daymaster. So when Ethereum was born in the year of the wood goat, here it is. The daymaster is very well supported by the wood, because in the circle of support, I have shown you the circle of support. To those of you who have had the personal Chinese astrology, the personal financial forecast, you know the cycle of support, you know that wood supports fire. So the daymaster, what I'm stating basically is that that year when Ethereum was born, the daymaster fire is well supported by the wood. And then for the following year, I have highlighted that it was a difficult year for Ethereum because the monkey is death and emptiness and lonesome. It's two negative stars for Ethereum. Okay. And then the rooster is a nobleman for Ethereum. All of you who have had the personal financial forecast, you know those things. The other ones of you who just have the Ethereum package, you don't know them. And I don't actually explain the Chinese system, is way too long to explain it. I do explain it to the people who have the personal financial forecasts. So I recommend that everybody knows their personal financial forecast because this is an awesome system. It gave me 82% accuracy last year on the monthly time frames, and I'm committed that I'm gonna regain this accuracy this year. So I'm giving a note here that the fire element is a clash element to Ethereum because Ethereum is fire itself. Ethereum was born on the day of the fire god. Okay, here it is. Fire clashes fire. It's nothing. There is nothing a fire can offer to the fire. Particularly when it is yin and yin. This is goat yin and then yin fire. Messing with a yin fire doesn't create auspicious environment. If it's a yang fire, you can call them companions. They'll be compatible with each other. Still not compatible to great extent, but still better. The compatibility will be better than with another yin fire. Broadly speaking, in Chinese astrology, we always want to have balance between yin and yang, balance between the elements. We don't want to have too much of the same element. So the rooster is presenting a yin fire to Ethereum, and therefore it is that is bearish for Ethereum. But on the other hand, the rooster is a nobleman, so that is bullish. That is why I have written here a better year than 2016, and 2016 I have written a mixed year. So all the analysis here is based on Chinese astrology, how Chinese astrology interprets an entity. And then we're going to check all of these interpretations, how are they actually performing. So let me just take you through those years. So 2018, a bear year. Why? Because Ethereum is making a 90-degree angle with the dog. So that is clashing. The 90-degree angle in Chinese astrology is called a clash. They don't use that terminology. You need to understand that I'm a researcher, I'm an esoteric researcher, and I'm taking from all of those esoteric systems what is useful to understand the markets. So I don't actually care to use the correct terminology. I call them degrees because that is easier for me to understand the difficulty of the relationship. If you just call it a clash, you actually don't know what that means. It means a 90-degree angle. It's very similar to the square in Western astrology. So Earth is an enemy element to Ethereum because Ethereum is a goat and it's a triple goat. So it simply doesn't need any more earth. It will destroy the whole balance. It has enough earth as it is. Here it is, earth on a yearly time frame, earth on a monthly time frame, earth on a daily time frame. So all of these earth animals in the Chinese zodiac are clashing Ethereum. They're enemies for Ethereum. Okay, so that's why I have forecasted 2018 to be a bear year. So what I do with Chinese astrology is I forecast the past, then I see how they perform, and then I see how the theory relates to the practice, and then I make conclusions about how to forecast the future. That is how I do it with humans, and that's how I've done it for Ethereum. And then the following year, 2019, was the year of the pig. The pig is a nobleman. Earth is an enemy element again. but it's a better year than 2018 because the pig is a nobleman. So only the element here is bad, but the animal is good. Whereas in 2018, both the element earth is bad and the animal is bad as well. And then from 2020, we move on to the year of the rat. The rat is a good year for Ethereum because the rat is the star which governs romance, which tends to be a bullish star. It's not the most bullish one. That is why I have given it a slightly lighter shade of green. It's not heavy bullish like it's not heavy bullish like the nobleman. The nobleman is given a darker color, but still the peach blossom is a bullish star. When we're assessing a chart for money, I specialize only in assessing the bar Z charts for money. So this is a bullish star for Ethereum. Okay, and also water. Male water, the male water, which is called Ren in Chinese astrology, is given as a useful god by the automated system. So moving on to 2021, again ox is the enemy because it makes a 180-degree angle to the goat. Ox and goat are always enemies. But metal is the wealth element of Ethereum because Ethereum is a fire day master, so therefore metal is a wealth element, so it is expecting to be a bull year. Okay, but I have written a mixed year because I have pretended that I don't know what actually happened. Okay, this is just Chinese astrology. First, how Chinese astrology interprets an entity, and then we will compare the results. And then moving on to 2022, it was the water tiger. Tiger is the death and emptiness for Ethereum. Bad news there, 100%. And water, I have written that water is an enemy for Ethereum because as an element, in terms of element compatibility, it is an enemy. But on the other hand, rainwater is actually given as a useful god for Ethereum. So we need to keep that in mind. And I have given a little indication here after that it closed on a red. So this is compatible, this closure is compatible with the forecast. Then 2023, the year of the rabbit, is a death and emptiness as well. But on the other hand, Ethereum was born as a year of the goat. It is friends with the rabbit because they make a 120-degree angle between themselves, which is the equivalent of a trine in Western astrology. Therefore, the rabbit is expected to be a good animal for Ethereum in terms of that rule, the 120-degree rule. But it is still a death and emptiness. So sometimes several rules are intertwining, and it takes some experience and skill to be able to interpret them. So what I have written is a mixed year, that it will be better basically than the previous year. Okay, if I'm making a forecast for a human being, I'll just say that this year will be better than the previous year. Not spectacular, it will be better. So after that, when I have compared the results, I have written, well, it closed on a green thanks to Bitcoin. We'll find out later why that is. And then 2024, it was the year of the wood dragon. The dragon is a 90-degree angle to the goat. That is why they're clashing each other. The dragon is also the star of loneliness to Ethereum. That is a very bearish star, by the way. In a person's life, it's just as bad as death and emptiness. They're quite actually, death and emptiness is not that bearish. That one, loathsome, is even more bearish because death and emptiness, it's so bad that it pushes us in a very tight corner, and we have to mastermind a plan and an exit from that situation, and most of the time we do. whereas lonesome is impacting the subconscious in a different way. It makes us very unmotivated and so hopeless that we actually can't pull ourselves together. So that's the difference. Both of them are bearish, but this one is very motivation of the death and emptiness and very energizing, and it's kind of it provides a lot of drive, whereas the lonesome one doesn't. A lot of people die actually in this one while they're in the lonesome year, because the lonesome year is when people are simply not motivated to even seek any help for themselves, and they become very, very discouraged and hopeless. I recently did some research on Virginia Giuffre, and she died in her lonesome on a lonesome cycle, and actually her chart is very similar to Amy Winehouse, and Amy Winehouse died in a lonesome cycle as well. So them two, they have very similar charts actually, and yeah, lonesome is a very bad year, always a risk to everyone. So I said all of those things. So look at this now. So the dragon is a clash because it's making a 90-degree angle. Then lonesome, I explained already how bad it is. And then what do we get? We get closed on a green. Crazy, huh? So we're gonna understand a bit later why that is. Okay, so I have explained here that wood is supportive to Ethereum. That is another rule which is in the circle of support. Only the element assessment is saying that wood supports fire. That is what we do in Chinese astrology. We juggle several separate rules. And then what I have done after I have described the years here, I have listed all of the daily time frames underneath that belong to that particular year, and I have colored them with green and red for the closures, and then I have given stronger colors to some candles that were quite big candles. They're given stronger colors. And then what I have done is I have calculated all the percentages of green candles, all the percentages of red candles for any animal of the 60 versions. So we have 12 animals in Chinese astrology and 5 elements. So 12 by 5 is 60. So we have 60 separate versions, 60 separate combinations. And I'm starting with the Earth Monkey because the Earth Monkey is Bitcoin's day pillar. And my research goal is not only to know about Ethereum, but actually to know about Ethereum in relation to Bitcoin. So that is why everything is circling around Bitcoin. So that is why we start with the Earth Monkey. And these are the 60 different versions laid out here. And then all percentages are calculated. I have split them by 5 years because they're easier to manage. So from 2015 to 2018, actually, it's 3 years here. No, 2019, sorry. So 2015, actually there are 5 years. If you count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because the years included. It's very misleading like that. If you just say, oh, 2019 minus 2015, that's 4 years, but it's actually 5. And then from here begins another set of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from 2020 until 2024. And then this is the next cycle of 5 years. Why do I split them by 5? Is because in Chinese astrology we have a very important 5-year cycle. Okay, so what we have to do now is we have to see all of these forecasts that those years made. How are they panning on Ethereum's life? So I said that fire is a bad element for Ethereum, right? And I said that monkey is a bad animal, and then look at that. 2016 is closing on a green. Exception to the rule? Very difficult to make these exceptions. When I work with humans, very rarely people are saying, when I tell them that a year is supposed to be a bad year for them, very rarely they disagree. Actually, I've never had anybody disagreeing when I have identified that a year is a bearish year for them. And on two counts, in terms of elements and in terms of an animal. And suddenly we're getting here Ethereum closed on a green. Next one, fire again. Rooster is a nobleman, but again the element fire is here. So what I have done here, I have given the real closing candles. Up there I gave you my forecast, and here these are the real closing candles, how they really closed. And this year closed on a green as well, 2017. I understand, because I already said that 2017 will be a better year than the 2016. So I understand why this one closed on a green. But so far we don't have any explanation why 2016 closed on a green. With two of them being bearish for Ethereum, the fire and the monkey. Next year, the 2018, the Earth Dog had already forecasted. You can rewind the video, you'll see that I've already forecasted 2018 to be a bearish year for Ethereum, so it makes sense. And look at that, this is the biggest shock. We have pig, which is a nobleman for Ethereum. Pig is also a friend of Ethereum, because this is how the friends go. The friends of the goat are the rabbit and the pig, because they make 120-degree angle to each other. And other goats, because these are the Grand Duke, these are the when the goat is in her own Jupiter cycle every 12 years. That's bullish, and then therefore those same people who belong to that cycle, they're bullish as well, or those entities. So the pig is one of the biggest friends of Ethereum, because it is a nobleman, plus it is a friend because it belongs to the 120-degree cycle. Look at that. So if you imagine a dot here in the middle of this triangle, you draw vertical lines like this to connect these points of the triangle, like this, one line like this, and then that angle there between them will be 120 degrees. It's a very smooth and easy and bullish angle. And despite that, 2019 did not manage to close on a green. It closed on a red. So that is a very big shock, and it begins to reveal a weakness, because it's not the first time that we see something that is playing irregularly. 2016 closed on a green despite being bearish, and 2019 closed on a red despite being bullish for Ethereum. This should have been a straightforward green. It's a lot better year. Earth is a bad element for Ethereum, right? I've never said it's a good element. Actually, on a yearly time frame, Earth is a bull element for Ethereum, because it is a wood. It's a wood goat on a yearly time frame, and Earth is the wealth element of the wood. So Earth doesn't actually have to be bearish for Ethereum, let alone in combination with the pig, who is a nobleman and also a friend. Okay, so this is a very big red flag, that we're dealing with the entity that doesn't seem to be in control of its own destiny. And then we just keep that note in our mind and we carry on. So 2020, this was, metal is the wealth element of Ethereum. It makes perfect sense that it closed on a green. It was a bull year for Ethereum. and the rat is the peach blossom, which is a bull cycle for Ethereum. So it makes perfect sense. Then 2021, again, metal is a wealth element for Ethereum. The ox is worse than the rat. So just pay attention here that this year was bullish for Ethereum, right? The metal rat. The next year, we're removing one of the bull elements. We're removing the bull animal and we're replacing it with a bearish animal for Ethereum, which is the ox. The ox is an enemy for Ethereum. The element remains the same. So isn't it logical that this year will be closing on a red in comparison with the previous year? Well, it is, but it didn't. Why is that? Well, because Bitcoin closed on a green. Because the ox is a very good animal for Bitcoin. And that is why it closed on a green. In terms of Ethereum's own cycle, this should have been a red closure. Then the next year, Tiger is a death and emptiness. It's also year number 7 in as a personal year number, and the age as well, which is a very bad age. So it makes perfect sense. This one is very easy to understand why it closed on a red. By the way, this is not just Chinese astrology, but it's my own numerology system that I'm implementing. So the first column is the age. Every age is colored with green, red, or neutral. And this is my own system based on studying numerology for most of my life. I got into numerology when I was very young. I was 12 years old when I started doing numerology, because it's easy, it's pleasant, and it never makes me tired. It's always fun doing numerology. So I always include numerology as an additional confluence to everything else that I forecast, to every other cycle that I use. So age number 7 is bearish, and it coincides with the year number 7 personal year number. Right, this is a different cycle. This cycle goes only to 9, from 1 to 9, and then it starts again. So this makes perfect sense. And then we're moving to the year of the rabbit. So the rabbit is death and emptiness for Ethereum. Water, gooey water, but actually it was rainwater in terms of Ethereum. In terms of elements, enemy, yes, gooey water is an enemy of Ethereum. Only rainwater is a friend of Ethereum. Rainwater is the male water, gooey water is the female water. So it doesn't make sense why a year which has the enemy element of Ethereum, which is gooey water, and it has also the rabbit, which is death and emptiness, it doesn't make sense why this is closing on a green in terms of Chinese astrology. But actually year number 8 as an age is very bullish, and also year number 8 is a personal year number, is very bullish. So we may say that the numerology was too strong, and that is why it closed on a green. And then 2024, wood is a female, wood is a supportive element of the fire, and the dragon is a bad animal, so that was supposed to close on a red. I have marked that 2024 closed on a green. I just want to double check it quickly. No, I have marked it that it closed on a red, but I want to check it quickly because it's very important that I don't get something wrong. So I've got it at the moment that Ethereum closed on a red 2024. Right. It makes sense because of the dragon. And then we have here the monthly time frames, which are laid out for you. So these are the months here, from January to December, and every single month is colored according to the element that it rules. January is ox, earth, therefore it is brown. February is tiger, March is rabbit, April is dragon, brown again. These two here are wood. And all of these months are always the same, they never change. And I have written here for you what these represent. This is the ox is a clash, tiger and rabbit are death and emptiness, the dragon is lonesome, May, the snake is a sky horse, June is illness, July is its own. So when it comes to monthly time frames, I expect it to be a bearish month for Ethereum because it is its own animal, which is different than the Jupiter cycle on a yearly time frame. On a yearly time frame, our own cycle is bullish for us, but on a monthly time frame, it is bearish. I know it's a bit confusing. And then August is lonesome as well. September is nobleman. August is the month of the monkey, by the way. And then October is I don't know why I have written it as a green. That should not be green. I guess I have given it a green color because majority of Octobers have closed on a green. Let me just quickly back test them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 15. No, they're 50-50. So there is no reason why this should be green. It's actually, it should be red. Okay. November should be a bullish month for Ethereum because it's the month of the pig, which is a nobleman. And then December is peach blossom, which is the month of the rat. It should be bullish. Okay, so I have given the meaning of these months here for you. And then what do we see here? That the month of the snake is a sky horse for Ethereum. The snake is a sky horse for Ethereum. So this is one of the most bullish placements of a natal chart to be a sky horse. That means that the biggest ambitions are going to get fulfilled, and also it means success abroad, which is very important if you're a cryptocurrency. Success abroad means adoption, and that is exactly what the sky horse represents. And then in this section here, if you recall in the previous video to subscribers, I said that this section needs a lot of reflection and I didn't have time to do it at the time. But now this package is actually completed in this section. So we start with water on a yearly time frame. Rainwater is bullish for Ethereum. And then geowood, which is the male wood, bullish for Ethereum. And then metal heavenly stem is bullish for Ethereum. And then here in this column, I'm describing the animals that are bullish for Ethereum. Okay, so pig is a nobleman, snake is a sky horse, rooster as a nobleman as well, and rat as a peach blossom. These are the most bullish animals for Ethereum. And then we're moving on here to the monthly time frames. And again, I'm describing the heavenly stems first. For those of you who don't know what the heavenly stems mean, these here are the heavenly stems, the top row. And then the second row is the earthly branches, which are actually the zodiac animals. Every single animal has its own element, but on top of that it is accompanied by an element there on the top. And these are the time cycles, so daily time frame, monthly time frame, yearly time frame, and hourly time frame. These cycles there of elements, they constantly running. So that is how the natal chart is built. So here I'm listing here first the elements that are good, and then on the lower section here I'm listing the animals, and then moving on here the elements, and then the animals, and these are now here the daily time frames in terms of elements, in terms of animals. The animals are the same. The hourly time frame is really not important, but I have done it just for the purpose of completion. So just notice here that the elements are different, but the animals are the same. You are not expected to work with this. Only if you want to get into this, you can learn it. This is as much as I can explain. I cannot actually sit down to teach you the whole of the Chinese astrology system, how to reason about those things. But that is actually not necessary, because once I have given the rules, the next step is to backtest everything. So I have started backtesting them here. So rainwater being a bullish element for Ethereum was given by the automated system, which is a very good system, by the way. But on backtesting, it's not actually working. I have given it here across. In terms of yearly time frames, the rainwater have had mixed. These were the years of the rat and the year of the tiger. So the year of the rat closed on the green. Oh no, that was not rainwater, that was a metal water. Okay, so far we have had only 1 year that is rainwater, which is the 2022, that closed on a red. So far, rainwater on a yearly time frame is not actually fulfilling the forecast of the automated system. Otherwise, I would never have chosen it. To me, a fire day master, water is an enemy to the fire day master. It's very simple like that. But the automated system has picked it as a useful god. You can see here is a useful god that rain is included. So that is why I had to include it. So if you see something that has a cross, means that so far the backtesting is not supporting it. Again, pig is a nobleman on a yearly time frame. It gets a cross because 2019 closed on a red. Okay, and what we're doing this year in 2025, we're going to be testing the year of the snake, which I had forecasted will be closing on a red. I never held Ethereum before. I bought Ethereum only to trade, only for 2025, only so I can sell it in 2025 and make a profit. That is the only reason why I constructed this package together, because I'm bullish on Ethereum myself, because this year of the snake is a sky horse for Ethereum, which is a super bullish placement for Ethereum. I wouldn't actually sit down together to make all of this package for Ethereum if I were bearish for Ethereum. I was super bullish for Ethereum this year because of the sky horse. This is the most bullish placement. The sky horse in a natal chart. People are waiting for this placement for years, for 10 years, not 12 years, sorry, to get the sky horse to achieve their aspirations. So what happened is when we got into 2025, we made the top very early there in January 20th. And from there on, I was fine. I know that after every top, it takes some time. So I was fine for February. And then I thought that March would be the bottom, and then from March we head up again. No, March was the bottom again. March went lower. And we did the bottom in April, which was Bitcoin's bottom. That wasn't Ethereum's bottom. Because April as a month, where is it? April is a month, is metal. Metal is the wealth element of Ethereum. So this should have been a straightforward bull month. And Ethereum didn't even manage to close on a green even in April. I understand that the bottom was quite deep, but still it should have picked itself, given that it is on a wealth element month. So it's really bad. The conclusion is this tormented me so much that March and April didn't close on a green. It tormented me so much that I actually spent such a long time going through everything and researching everything like mad. And so far I have two explanations. My explanation number one is that, as I said from the beginning of this package, is the numerology relationship between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum is number 3, Bitcoin is number 6. As a destiny number, Bitcoin is always serving as a parent. That's the destiny of number 6, that number 6 is always parenting everyone else. But particularly Ethereum as a number 9 is a very weak number. Number 9 people, if you know them, they live with their parents until they're 50 or 60 until something happens and they have to leave. Number 9 people have that very deep intrinsic vulnerability that doesn't allow them to be independent. They're always glued to their parents. Otherwise, they can be intelligent like everyone else. I know a lot of number 9 people and all of them are intelligent. However, there is that vulnerability that they kind of struggle to look after themselves. And they always have the parent cooking for them and still doing those basic things that they should be doing from age 20. They should be able to do. But for one reason or another, number 9 people prefer somebody else to do those things for them. They just struggle. They really struggle to take care of themselves for the most practical things like cooking and cleaning the house. I just check with number 9 people how many times they've cleaned their house actually, and you'll see they could be like 50 years old and they'll tell you they've cleaned their house like 5 times. Somebody else is doing those things for them. They have that vulnerability about them, is that they're not very streetwise, number 9 people. That's why they need to always they kind of intrinsically, intuitively, they find somebody who is stronger than them and they just stick with that person, because the person who is stronger than them, they just take the brunt, they take all the practical responsibilities on their shoulders. And that is the destiny of number 6. Number 6 is too busy caring and being mature and looking after the bills and looking after the practical matters, and they don't have that much time to grow and develop because they're too busy looking after the practicals in their life. And also number 6 always gets somebody who gravitates towards them, somebody who is vulnerable, and number 6 very often ends up supporting other people. So the destiny of number 6 is a destiny of caring and serving other people instead of actually focusing on themselves. And this is the relationship between Ethereum and Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is this practical entity and Ethereum is the vulnerable entity, and the Ethereum is following Bitcoin like a child follows the mother. I identified that from the start when I did this package, and I didn't understand that even in 2025, which is an extremely bullish year for Ethereum's natal chart, The sky horse is super bullish, the year of the snake. And also on an elemental level, the fire of the snake warms up the earth of Ethereum. So these are two compatibilities with the year of the snake. And despite that, we had such low dumping in February, in March, which made me ill. It just made me feel like the biggest fool on earth, despite my system that when I'm forecasting Bitcoin is giving me 82% accuracy last year for the monthly time frames, and this year is doing pretty well, 100% so far. And I just couldn't get my head around what was it in the Ethereum chart that made it so bearish for March and for April. There was really no need for that. And the answer is, it's because it was bearish for Bitcoin. That's why Ethereum just followed Bitcoin. The second answer is that as Trump made it very obvious that Trump is heavily invested in Ethereum, and some people are showing various accounts on Twitter, they're saying that that is a Trump account and he is heavily loaded with Ethereum. I believe that Ethereum was deliberately then dumped in order to kind of make a war on Trump. You know, the New York Stock Exchange is known to be on the side of the Democrats. So another explanation I have is that a war that is given on Trump to keep Ethereum very low in price. Eventually, that will change because Ethereum will keep getting adopted. This is the destiny of Ethereum in 2025, to receive wider adoption. That is the sky horse. I've been doing Chinese astrology for decades. Whenever I have forecasted the sky horse in a person's chart, I mean forecasted back, when I meet a person, I don't know them, and I say that year was a bull year for you because that was the sky horse, and you went abroad and you were well received abroad and your ambitions were fulfilled, people say yes, yes. So there is no reason for that to be inaccurate for Ethereum. I'm expecting a bull year ahead for Ethereum. So I haven't changed any of those things in the package. This was already given to you from the beginning. I've changed a little bit here in this section here. And what I'm doing here is slowly I'm doing the back testing. So I have back tested the yearly time frames. Not all of them can be back tested because Ethereum hasn't done a full cycle. And then slowly I'm moving on into back testing the monthly time frames. So in this column we have the Ethereum friends, and in this column we have the Ethereum enemies. Let me just check something. Something is bugging me. I want to check the Ethereum. Sometimes I just, because we have this Mercury conjunction with the Sun. Mercury is combust at the moment. It's clouding our minds, and we're struggling sometimes with some really basic things. Like I never expected that I will ever not know how Ethereum has closed in a previous year. Ethereum has closed on a green in 2024. Okay. So 2021 was a super strong year for Ethereum, right? No reason for that. It was a super strong year for Bitcoin because the ox is either sky horse or intelligence for Bitcoin. I can't remember off the top of my head. The ox is one of those very bullish animals for Bitcoin. And on the back of that, Ethereum performed so well. But in terms of the personal chart of Ethereum, 1 second, please. The ox is an enemy of Ethereum. Okay, so what I need to do here is I need to correct 2024. Okay, so 2024 closed on a green, and I'm writing the closures here in this column. Okay, we leave the loneliness day to be red. So that is why I have written 2024 is a better year than 2022 and 2023, because that is a fact. When you look at the chart, 2024 is a better year than these 2 years. So I have stated a fact rather than a forecast. Okay. So that's clarified. It's very basic, but sometimes when Mercury is combust, really basic things can actually confuse us sometimes. Okay, so these are the daily time frames. So now we're going to see what we have on daily time frames. Yes, so in this section here, between two blocks of daily time frames, I have given you various events in the past which are relevant for the same cycle. Just to remind you, because very often when these daily time frames come back, these things are celebrated. So just to remind you, these are not forecasting anything. They just remind us that last time when we had the fire ship, for example, at the moment we're heading towards the fire ship on the 7th of June, it says that these happen to be local bottoms in the past. That time frame, the fire ship was a local bottom in the past. I like the expression fire sheep instead of fire goat. As you know, in Chinese astrology, you can call it both things. It's the same. Fire goat, fire sheep is the same. So, where we are now on the daily time frames, I haven't written 26th and 27th closure. Today is the 27th. It looks like we will be closing on a green, but it's a bit too early. So I don't want to tempt fate. Let me go back on the daily time frame. Okay, so yesterday it closed on a green, 26, and then 25 and 24 closed on a green. And 26 closed on a green. And then we are counting. As soon as I've done the closing candle here, so now we know the 26 closing candle, I recalculate the percentages for the new block. So here we had 17 of 31 were green, and now we're going to have 18 of 33 are green, and then we have here 14 of 31 were red, and we have here 15 of 33 are red. So the percentage remains the same, 55 green against 45 red. Okay, so it closed according to its forecast, and today was a remarkable day. The fire monkey. Do you remember what I said to you, that fire is a very bad element for Ethereum? So we had the fire monkey closing on red 58% of the time. And I actually forecasted in my circle that on 27th of May I expected a red closure of the month, and I expected a much deeper spike on 25th of May. So this is 25th of May. My call was to enter a long on 25th of May. So 25th of May spiked, but not very low. So I said to people, if we don't manage to enter the long on 25th, we're gonna enter it on the 27th because of that probability here, 58% of closing on a red. Because the monkey is a bad animal for Ethereum, right? But it is a good animal for Bitcoin. The monkey is a good animal for Bitcoin. And what we got last night, and this morning particularly, around 4 a.m., my call was that around 4 a.m. on 27th of May, we will get the lowest for today. And unfortunately, it didn't spike very low, so I wasn't brave to recommend to enter the long position, because it's not nice when you enter a long position, you need to enter it in a quite deep. Otherwise, if you're constantly monitoring your position, it's quite stressful. So only one person from the people who were on the call, only one person entered the long position, and he's doing well right now. But the other people were not brave, and that's how it goes. The market makers didn't allow us to enter long position here. Okay, so this is the forecast for now, that tomorrow is going to be higher. 28th of May is forecasted that it will be higher tomorrow. Let's have a look on the daily time frames. What forecast do we have? Well, we have a forecast 55% likelihood of tomorrow closing on a red. So tomorrow is also a vulnerable day. Okay, there is a contradiction here. The fractal is highlighting 28th of May as closing on green, and the daily time frame is forecasting a red closure, higher probability. 55% is almost 50-50. It's not as strong as 58, but still, the reason why these percentages are so low is because we have a very vast amount of data. I mean, these are all the days in Ethereum's life. Look at that. These are all the days this being has lived on this planet. So that is why the percentages are not very high. But saying that, look at that in the previous week. Look how strong it was, 61 green closures day in that week. Okay, so we'll just monitor. For those of you who missed the long, there will be another opportunity. We get here the Earth peak has a 55% probability of closing on red, and then we have the metal ox has a very strong probability of closing on red. So when you see these big percentages here, when there is a big percentage over 60%, I have actually put colors on these dates, so they serve as a forecast. The smaller percentages don't serve as a forecast, but over 60% is a decent forecast. So we have this day here, 1st of June is expected to be a red day. The next date, which will offer us an opportunity, oh, actually, I don't know about that, because after that, the fractals are identifying that the 3rd of June is going to be a red day. The fractals are identifying all of these days here may be heading down from the 3rd of June. and that is confirmed here by the daily time frames as well. 3rd of June and 1st of June are highlighted as red days. So this is about the daily time frames. And now you know what you have in your hands. And then this video became way too long, so I'm gonna do the forecast in the next video. Sorry about that. But how many minutes is this video running now? I can't actually see the minutes. I really hate when it's Mercury combust. Ah yes, it's 1 hour so far, very, very long. When Mercury is combust, it just brings so much kind of clumsiness, because Mercury governs dexterity when you're doing something in a very smooth and easy way, and now that Mercury is combust, it makes everything very clumsy and difficult. Just to check the simple time, it took forever. I'm gonna take you through actually the fractals now for the next 2 months, because this is what I promised that I will do. And let's crack on. So this is my official fractal, everyone. This is where we are right now. And these 3 fractals belong to 3 separate cycles. So they're 3 separate confluences. One of them is highlighting the 31st of May as a top, and then it goes down, and then it goes up, and it makes 10th of June as a double top. And then the other fractal is highlighting 2nd of June as the first top, and then 12th of June as the second top. And from there on, it goes down. Okay, why do we trust these fractals? Because these 3 fractals, all of them are heading in the same direction. Let's see how they have performed in the past. Well, they have been very good to show us the direction. They have not been that great with the price. So here, for example, this is what Ethereum should have been doing. This is where the forecast started screwing me from 3rd of March, when the fractals, actually this fractal lasted all the way until 9th of March, and then this fractal let me down as well. So from the day when I posted them on 29th of December, my forecasts were doing exceptionally well. Nobody else in the world had those fractals. I was very proud of them. And then it let me down here from 9th of March. And that is what Ethereum should have done. But it didn't do it. It had to dump lower, either through manipulations, because Trump was trumping all the time how much he's invested in Ethereum, and that will sell the news, sell the news, sell the news. And I also believe that it is deliberately manipulated to be so long, so low, to drop so low, because they want to pump it higher. And when they pump it, they don't want retail in Ethereum. When this happened here, everybody became ill. Everybody who is an Ethereum holder said, as soon as this goes to 4,000, I'm selling, and I don't want to be invested in this. It's too fickle, too unpredictable. I was one of those as well. I was constantly cursing it. I really couldn't stomach it that it went so low. I mean, this is a number 2 cryptocurrency. How do you expect the other currencies to do well when the number 2 is doing so bad? But there is no point judging things. They are what they are. I explained that it doesn't make any sense in the Ethereum natal chart to be dumping this low and to be closing. Okay, I understand the dump in April, but why didn't you just head it up because the metal is a wealth element for Ethereum. Why did it have to stay here so low? Absolutely no need for that. And you can see the fractals, they picked themselves up much earlier. Look how long this was manipulated. For a whole week, they waited longer. This fractal pumps from 3rd of May. This fractal 3rd of May. This fractal pumps from 1st of May. And in reality, they pumped from 8th of May. They delayed and delayed and delayed. And all of that was to shake out retail, to make retail be very scared of Ethereum and even to hate Ethereum, because we're all human beings and we have emotions. Once we start hating something, that's it. There is no forgiveness about how it let us down all winter. This ruined my whole winter. Everybody who is an Ethereum holder, tell me how you felt during the winter and the spring. It did ruin my spring and my winter because I'm heavily invested in Ethereum. But what kept me going is knowing that we're in a sky horse year. And I was producing regular forecasts until March. And in March, I said I'm bullish for March. And Ethereum should be heading up. It should be making the bottom and the bull reversal in March. And I expect a green closure in March. And when that didn't materialize, I just hated it so much that I didn't even want to do a forecast. I completely went off it, like I fucking hated it. So this is it. This is the forecast now. Oh yes, by the way, don't use these as price guidance. Use these only as guidance in terms of pivots, possible pivots, and direction of travel. And sometimes it can be actually accurate even for the daily time frames. So for example, here you can see this daily time frame is red, and you can see it clearly indicated as a red on every fractal. On all of these 3 fractals, the 23rd of May is given as a red. Vice versa, 22nd of May on every single fractal is given as a green. But don't obsess about the daily time frames to expect that every single daily time frame should be able to forecast the color of the closing candle. You know, that's an extra bonus. The purpose of the fractal is to give us the direction of travel. That's the main purpose. Then if you can extract a pivot or two, that's even better, but it's still an extra. And then if it can predict some daily time frames, that's an extra bonus. But don't be so ambitious to and naive. And I know why people are naive, because Ashley12345, her name is on Twitter, she always says that to people. Oh look, this is a daily time frame which forecasted the dump, and here it is, it dumped. But have you noticed that her fractals are not clear like this? You actually cannot discern this by yourself. It needs to be highlighted to you by her. If these daily time frames were so accurate, why doesn't she just make them visible like this to everyone, so everyone can see for themselves which daily time frame will be closing lower and which daily time frame will be closing higher and which daily time frames are extracting pivots? But her fractals are the tiniest fractals. What she does them like this, like this, like this, so nobody can fucking see them. That's the whole purpose. Why she doesn't present them properly to people. And then on the day, if it happens to have a day that corresponds exactly to what the candle, the stick is predicting, she will highlight it to people on the day. What kind of forecast is that? A forecast means you tell it to people in advance, not on the day. Anyone can do that. So you see this here, she would have forecasted this candle here on 23rd of May. She'll be making a big noise about it. She writes, boom, the candle is showing, the forecast is showing red closure here, and that's what we're getting. We're getting a big red candle. Boom, always accurate. She is such a dishonest person. I really cannot stand that person. It's just slow down, become human. We're all human, we all make mistakes. Just show to people honestly what you expect to happen, and then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Forecasting cannot be accurate 100%, but she is committed to prove to the world that she is 100% accurate, and she's doing some really silly things. Basically, she is forecasting the day. When something happens on the day, that's when she forecasted to people. I can't stand dishonest people like that, and so many forecasters are doing that, but I'm gonna expose them in other videos because it's gonna make this video very long. These are my fractals, for good or for bad. These are my fractals. It's going up and it's highlighting here the first stop, 31st of May. By the top fractal, the next fractal is highlighting the 2nd of June as a top. And then we have a bit of a retracement, and then we're heading for the next stop. So I have exaggerated these fractals in order for people to see the closing candles by yourselves. That's the reason, to make them perfectly visible. That doesn't mean that I agree with the price. It doesn't mean I disagree with the price. We're gonna have a very bullish first half of June. So it is very possible that we reach 3000, the red fractal here, the dark orange fractal is showing 3,444. I think it's quite realistic actually, this price. By the way, these fractals here, all of them, they begin from a certain date from which the cycle begins, and they begin exactly there. Do you see that I don't deliberately make it lower or higher? So therefore, if history repeats itself, this is what should be happening. And history is repeating itself because you can see the direction of travel is kind of more or less coinciding, but it's not exact. And we have a lot of new cycles as well, so it's very unrealistic to expect that the fractals will just match exactly. Okay, so let's have a look now at what are the potential now risks ahead of us. So the orange fractal is highlighting 28th of May as a potential risk, and that is now a confluence to a daily time frame. If you recall, 28th of May here is given a 55% of a 55% probability of closing on a red. Here it is. So if you want to enter the long, that will take you to the top. Be very careful because we may be, I don't know on which fractal we are exactly. These are three fractals that are confluencing each other, and that is why all of them are valid, but I do not know which one is the most valid one. So the orange one is pointing that tomorrow will be the bottom, and from there on we're heading to the top. The cream fractal is pointing that the 1st of June will be the bottom, and then we're heading for the top. And the orange one is pointing that 30th of May will be the bottom, and then we're heading for the top. So be very careful with this. We will know, we'll see what happens tomorrow, 28th of May. If it spikes down to 2,240 or 2,460, if it spikes down to 2,460, that is a good entry in my humble opinion for the long. But if it doesn't spike down that deep, it will be very difficult decision if you want to enter. In my opinion, then, if it doesn't spike deep, wait for the next opportunity, what the fractals are showing here. That will be the 30th of May. The price is showing lower. And then the next opportunity is the 1st of June. And then I will publish the fractal to all subscribers in the place where I publish everything to subscribers. And you can actually get the whole fractal for yourselves, and you can monitor the daily time frames there. So this is it for now. This is the forecast for June up until the 25th of June. I'll give you a little bit more. This is the forecast for June, and then for July I will do it in the next month. Bye for now.